In Chapter 6, we're going to look at Active Directory or AD integration and single sign-on. You'll need an installed NetConnect server, it will need to be licensed, you'll need access to your admin portal, access to an Active Directory instance, a username and password of an AD user that can be used to bind to NetConnect, and an AD user that can be used for testing. Now during this chapter we'll learn how to bind NetConnect to an Active Directory instance, assign an app to an AD user, show you how to configure single sign-on or SSO, show you how to chain multiple authentication stages together, and configure a Radius Authentication stage to demonstrate multi-factor authentication. So to start with, we'll bind an AD instance to NetConnect. First of all, we need to create a new VROM. Now this will be fairly similar to the steps we covered off in Chapter 5, only we won't need to create a data store of users as they're already there in your AD. Let's navigate through to Authentication Settings, VROM Management, and we'll click on Add VROM. We'll call this realm Active Directory, click Submit, and this time we'll set the stage type as LDAP. As you can see, we've got some very different options to the ones we saw when we were setting up the internal authentication stage, so let's step through what these are. Now, first of all, it's important to note that not all these fields are mandatory, so we'll just cover off the key ones for now. So let's complete the domain field with the domain that we're in. We're going to put the IP address of the Active Directory into the host field. We'll set the port as 389, and next we'll need to complete the bind DN field. Now this is a string that identifies the AD account we're going to use to bind NetConnect with. We recommend creating an account specifically for the purpose of binding to NetConnect, but that's up to you. So to find that binding string, we need to log into our AD server, open up the Active Directory console, and ensure that Advanced Features is enabled under the View menu. Then we'll navigate to the user we wish to use to bind to our NetConnect. Now we've set up a training OU here and prepared a NetConnect bind user for this activity. We'll right click on that user, select Properties, go to the Attribute Editor and scroll down until we find the Distinguished Name attribute. Let's open that up and copy the value. Then we'll simply hop back into our admin portal and paste that string into the bind DN field. Underneath that field is the bind password field, and we're going to populate that with the NetConnect bind user's password. Next, we'll fill in the base DN field. Now this can be found in the latter part of the bind DN and defines where the AD queries begin. So you'll likely want to set this as high as possible. Now we want to set it at the domain level, so we'll copy from the first DC section. Then we need to set the login attribute, which should be SAM account name by default. Note this is case sensitive, so make sure you have the capital AMA and the capital N as displayed here. After that, we're going to enter the group attribute member as member, and finally enter the same value into the group base DN as you did in the base DN field. Click Submit and you should be all set. Now, providing all these settings have been entered correctly, you'll be able to log into your NetConnect instance using one of your Active Directory accounts. Let's open up a second browser here. We'll go to Firefox and navigate through to our NetConnect URL. We'll sign in with our AD test account, select the Active Directory VROM we just created, and brilliant, that's worked. As we'd expect, the user doesn't have any applications assigned just yet, so let's nip back over to our admin portal and fix that up. There we go. Next up, let's show you how to improve the end user experience by enabling single sign-on. NetConnect enables full single sign-on for a number of applications. This means users only have to enter their password once. The NetConnect can reuse that authentication towards the other applications and connections made by the user. Now, because NetConnect also allows multi-factor authentications, user can have multiple passwords to authenticate into NetConnect. In order to tell NetConnect which password should be reused in single sign-on, we use the concept of an authentication scope. Authentication scopes are, very simply, a string of characters that we will reuse in different parts of the admin portal to link applications with the authentication stages. So let's show you how to set up single sign-on. It's configured on a per application basis, but first we need to make a slight change to our Active Directory VROM. Navigate to Authentication Settings, VROM Management, highlight your Active Directory VROM, click on Edit Realm Stages, and then Edit Stage. All we have to do here is assign a name to the Authentication Scope field. We'll call this SSO-1 and click Submit. Now we'll go to Application Configuration, select our app and click on the Password Forward action and simply fill in the Authentication Scope field with the same value we just assigned to the VROM, so SSO-1. We'll also set the domain name forwarding to on and click Update. Now essentially what we're telling NetConnect to do here is take the credentials the user used to sign on to the Active Directory stage and pass them through when opening up this particular application. So let's log in with the AD user, launch the application, and we'll see the password has forwarded and the user is taken straight to the application without having to enter their credentials for a second time. Finally, let's take a look at how we configure a Radius-based authentication stage. These are typically used for integrating third-party applications which provide 2FA or multi-factor authentication, and they can be incorporated into NetConnect to provide enhanced security. Now, if you have your own Radius server, you can use your own settings as we move through this section. Otherwise, you're welcome to use the details we provide in this video. Essentially, all we're going to do is add an additional authentication stage to our existing Active Directory vRealm. So let's navigate to Authentication Settings, vRealm Management. We'll highlight our Active Directory realm, click on Edit vRealm Stages, and then Add Stage. We'll set the type as Radius, and then we can start to populate the relevant fields, starting with the Radius server IP, the Radius port, which is typically 1812. We'll enter the Radius secret. For our trial Radius server, that's NetConnect. And next we'll give a timeout value of 60 seconds and click Submit. Now that stage will be applied to our Active Directory vRealm instantly, so let's open up Firefox and log in with our AD test user again. Click on the Active Directory vRealm, and there we go. We're prompted for an additional password, meaning we've successfully added that authentication stage into this realm.